For straight A students, what made you stop chasing the grade? I was always a perfectionist growing up, and it didn't really help that my parents pressured the crap out of me academically, but they didn't see the way it really affected me. The days I couldn't eat or sleep because I redid an assignment 8 times. Or the day I got a stomach ulcer from how badly I stressed myself out over a non-perfect test. My therapist said I should chill, but seriously, like how? I mean, here I was awake at 4 a.m. writing the 47th version of the same scholarship essay, too frozen to ever hit submit. Then, the funniest thing happened. My professor paired me with a one person in class who could have been my complete opposite, Chase, the guy who pulled C's consistently and didn't seem to care. I begged my professor for a different partner, but she just smiled. Trust me, you'll be fine. You might even get more out of this. More what? More ulcers? I sighed and returned to my seat. Chase doodled on our brainstorming paper and asked, "So, Smarty, when do you want to start the rough draft?" Smarty, my nickname for you. You know, like the round candy. He shrugged, leaning back in his chair. "After we perfect the outline," I said, already creating a detailed mind map to help organize the outline. Chase laughed loudly and took the pencil from my hand, dangling it in front of me. "Hey, Smarty, it's called a rough draft for a reason. The whole point is that it's not perfect." I snatched the pencil back and stared back at him. "Really? Gee, thanks for the wisdom." But he just grinned back, completely unbothered while he watched me work on our mind map. Working with Chase was like watching someone live in a completely different universe. He wrote with his feelings on his sleeve, and I wrote methodically. We were oil and water that constantly clashed. Then, one night while I was up editing our rough draft, Chase gave me the worst scare of my life. "Don't worry about the deadline, Smarty. I already submitted our rough draft." I froze. My breathing got heavier. "Chase, what are you talking about? Submitted?" He yawned on the Google Meet. Yup, my hands shook against my keyboard. I left the meeting having a full-blown panic attack on the floor of my room. Should I tell the professor? Would that even be okay? God, I hate him so much, I thought. But then our professor emailed us back, giving the same feedback she usually gave. "It's a good start. Keep it up." All the stress, the tension in my muscles dropped. I sat there, reading the email over and over, wiping away my tears. A good start. Our terrible, unedited draft was good enough to start with, and the world didn't end. After that, I started looking at things differently. How Chase could fail a midterm and just shrug and say, "Now I know what to focus on for the finals," while I cried over a 96. During our study sessions, he'd apply to internships right there next to me. "Send in 5 applications in an hour. But you haven't tailored each cover letter," I said, watching him copy and paste. "Well, Smarty, I'd rather have a chance at 30 places than spend 30 days working on 3 applications, only for it to get rejected too." "But it won't get rejected," I blurted out. He grinned and pinched my nose, his blue eyes staring back playfully. "I hope not, but the world's not perfect out there, Smarty." And just like he predicted, 2 weeks later, he had 3 interviews lined up, including one at the company I was still busy writing the draft to. I was baffled. Here I was, completely interviewless while he had them lining up with half as much effort, and it really made me think. But then came the night where Chase really took chilling too far. That night, Chase stayed behind at the library while we worked on our assignment. On our break, I worked on version 48 of my scholarship application that was due the following day. Chase placed his chin on my shoulder, reading the draft out loud. "This is incredible. Submit it." "It's not ready," I said, scanning through it again. Chase grabbed my laptop and held it high above his head, just out of reach while I jumped up and down. "Chase, no, stop. I'm serious." He uploaded the file and clicked submit with his other hand. The confirmation email popped up immediately. "Application successfully submitted. There, see? Now you can sleep." "Hey, whoa, Smarty," he said, his face completely worried while I stood there crying my eyes out. He set the laptop down and hugged me, hiding my tears with his hoodie. "Holy crap, I'm sorry. I didn't want you to stress over it anymore." I pushed him away and grabbed my laptop, running out of the library. I didn't talk to him for 3 days after that. Not because I was angry, but because I was terrified. I kept checking my email expecting them to denounce me as a fraud, to say they could tell my application was rushed, unpolished, unworthy. But a week later, I got an interview request for the scholarship. My hands shook reading it. I stared at that email, then looked at my drafts folder. 47 versions that never got sent. The truth hit me hard. I wasn't perfecting things. I was just scared that what was perfect to me wasn't to others. So I sat there submitting all my other applications. Later that week, I went up to Chase and held up my phone to his face. 3 rejections, 5 acceptances. Chase patted my head with a sad smile. "Congrats, Smarty." He started walking away. I grabbed his hand. "Chase, wait. I didn't come here to brag. I'm really sincerely sorry. You were right." "I know." He smiled. "Apology accepted, Smarty."